Hey guys, welcome to a recap of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, episode 10, Healing by Sheree. So, we open up the episode seeing how the ladies spent their holidays. We get to see the sweet and gracious Candy Burris feeding Atlanta. She held a food donation where everyone was able to come pick up a meal to prepare for the Thanksgiving holiday, which is so sweet, so gracious. And I'm like, man, the other ladies definitely cannot top this. And we got to see Miss Marlo Hampton, how she spent the holidays. She was enjoying lamb chops that she did not have to prepare. She just enjoy and relax her holiday. We get to see Sonia Richard Ross and her layout for her family that she didn't prepare. She said she helped, but I don't think she really helped prepare. A cute, adorable moment is with Miss Brooklyn. She got to meet her grandpa for the first time in person, which was a big moment for Miss Kenya Moore. She got to hug her grandpa for the first time, and it's a wonderful moment. I mean, it was sad to hear that, Matt doesn't take much of a role in Brooklyn's life, according to Kenya Moore. So I'm just so happy that Brooklyn gets to experience a male figure in her life. And who better than Miss Kenya Moore's father? Okay, so that was cute, very wonderful. So we now get into the episode, and apparently Ralph, he's arranging a brunch for these ladies before they head off to Portugal. My thoughts is like, man, another brunch. What is it for our people and brunches? Like, brunches got us in a chokehold. Like, how many brunches have we seen this episode, the season? I feel like we've seen so many brunches. Well, the purpose of this brunch, according to Ralph, is so that the ladies start on a good foot and head off to Portugal all like besties, okay? This is interesting for Miss Drew because she's like, this man does not cook. Why is he arranging a moment where the guys are preparing a meal for the ladies? Like, what is this moment? But she did give him his props. She gave him that bestie high five. And I'm like, this is not you. Okay, I get you guys could be best friends, but this is your man. Like, give him a hug or a kiss for it, not a high five like he's a bro. Like, I was noticing that. I don't know if you guys noticed that. So she gave him his props, but she also slightly shaded him because it's kind of odd for him to show how gracious of a husband he is. And I'm like, is that unusual? Not normal? But it was quite shady. So, anyways, even though Drew was confused, she was living in that moment. She was all dressed up for these girls and this event. So the ladies started coming in. They brought their men. Todd is gonna show up. Um, Sonya's man show up. And Courtney's man showed up, Bryce. And now when Candy saw Bryce, they knew each other. Bryce knows everybody, apparently. So Candy was shocked that, Bryce is Courtney's baby daddy. Like, she's like, how does that happen? She did not see those two being a match. And it was even funny when Kenya saw Bryce too as well. It's like, these people, they all know each other. And pretty much Bryce, he said that, this was like 20 years ago when he saw these people. So that is so interesting that how connected these people are to each other. Such a small world for sure. So, Sheree shows up, Kenya show up, and they're not bringing no man. So I'm like, where is their men? I was hoping to see Roy. This would have been a great opportunity for Roy to be slowly introduced into this group and then into this nice brunch situation. But he's not here. And Sheree didn't have anyone she's bringing. I think she's over Martell because we haven't seen him. But then we get to hear his name uttered again in this episode. But guess who showed up with a man to this brunch? And it was Miss Marlo Hampton. I'm so shocked. I feel like it's going so quickly. Like, she really liked this guy. She's having this guy come over into the group, and this is not an easy group to just get into. So Scott Lee does show up with Miss Marlowe, and he goes off with the guys, and of course the girls are asking all the questions. They're like, how old is he? Like, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. But it's very cute to see Miss Marlowe's happy, with this man. Now, of course, we have a moment with Miss Kenya Moore. She shades Scott Lee's outfit. She was gonna do it. She had to do it. It wouldn't be right if she didn't shade his outfit, or at least something about the man. So if it's just about the outfit that you want to shade, that's okay. I mean, you could always change an outfit. Now, when you start talking about people's character, Yikes, that's when it gets pretty dicey, you know? So, anyways, the ladies, they want to know more about Scott Lee. And, we shockingly learned that Candy's met Scott Lee before, okay? And, what Scott Lee had to say is pretty much alluding that he's a very sexual man, and that, Miss Marlo Hampton, she's not the person to lay down like that. She really wants you to spend bags, spend money. So she didn't see how these two are a match, but come on, Candy. They didn't see how you and Todd were a match either. I feel like that's just typical housewives activity when someone new comes into the group and they're saying, and the housewife is trying to show their new partner. They always get that feedback like, are you two really a match? We don't know, but let it play out. Well, let's see. Let's give it a chance. But I'm so shocked because Marlo doesn't usually do this. Okay, so Kenya, she asked Candy about her movie. And she's asking, but she really wants to know why didn't she get a part to her movie. But we learned that, and Kenya learned, the group learned that, Drew solidified she has the spot of the leading lady. And this is shocking to Miss Kenya Moore. She's like, really? And so we learn a little bit more about the part. Candy says this role, the leading lady, she is shy, and she's sweet, naive, and then she gets turned out. And she's not shading Drew, but I think she's slightly shading Drew. Like I think it was a slight shade. But anyways, it's the part that gets paid, so I'm sure Drew's happy with it nonetheless. Now, Drew takes time to shade Miss Kenya Moore in the confessionals, but girl, I need you to give it in person in IRL, not in just in the confessionals. Don't be a thug in the confessionals, okay? So she is shading Miss Kenya Moore, saying that Miss Kenya Moore has an act since forever and a day ago, okay? But it was really baby shade. It wasn't much shade, okay? So anyhow, there's a phone call, and it's actually Roy. And once Roy was on the FaceTime, Marlo had to say, "Oh my God, is this Roy? That restaurant guy? Like she's been on a date with him." And I was so gagged. I was not expecting for that information to be dropped like that. And I was paying attention to the look on Miss Kenya Moore's face to see if there's any cracks. Like is she cracked? Is she gagged? Is she what's she feeling? But she holds a smile and she goes off and she talks to Roy to ask and check on him to see how he's doing. But yeah, Marlo said it was a date. They went on a date together. And even more juicy, we learned that Roy slipped into Marlo's DM, and I thought that was so controversial. So Sanya, she brings it up when Kenya comes back to the table, saying, "Oh, what are the chances that you and Marlo went on a date with the same man?" Now Kenya, she doesn't show these girls that she is sweating. Okay, she don't show. She has her game face. She's like, you know, it was like one date and he saw that this is not what he wanted and he moved on, and she still gives Roy his accolades saying he's a great guy, he's a great catch. Okay, so she feels very happy that he is seeing her and they're seeing each other. Okay, so Sheree, she makes an interesting and good point, okay? She stresses that it's interesting that Kenya dragged Martel when he slid into her DMs, but the mood is different when we hear that Roy slid into Marlo's DM. And I just thought that was so interesting. And it was hilarious to see Drew and Marlo just laughing and eating this situation all up and saying that, oh, Kenya got the sloppy second. So I can't wait to hear more of that situation. I would love for Roy to now do an appearance to see what pops off with Marlo and how that goes down. I'm pretty sure he'll be polite, but I'm so fascinated. This is like the plot thickens. It thickens and it gets more juicier. So, anywho's, we get to see the guys. They have a little chit chat outside. They're getting to know Scott Lee, and I'm pretty sure soon they're gonna do their form of hazing to the new guy. So that should be coming up soon. But back to the ladies, okay? So Kenya, she actually makes some suggestions, thinking like, "Oh, Roy should host an event and cook for the ladies." And I'm like, "Oh, damn! Another brunch is pending and coming up soon." But I'm here for this because I want to meet this man and see what more he has to say, and especially I want Marlo to be invited. I want her to have the invite so we can really see what pops off in the situation. Okay, so anywho, Sheree, she brings up to Drew if, if she's paying the chef here today. And, it was confusing for the ladies at first, but Sheree, she brings up that she saw in the blogs that there was a whole commotion going on with Drew not paying a chef slash nanny. Now, Drew, she clarifies and say it's a lawsuit and it is very much active. Pretty much, this young lady, she made some food, it had hair in it, and it was trash. And there's a whole back and forth. She's not paying for bad food, okay? So the total sum of this lawsuit that the lady is seeking, the little girl is seeking, is $1,000. I would not waste my time for $1,000. Are you serious? Can you imagine going to get like an attorney, go through freeze and processing for $1,000? There probably more to the story that Drew's not telling us, because she's probably not asking for pain and suffering and extra additional stuff. But that is just so wild. So, anyways, Sheree is starting to start a little shade, but she's focusing on her healing journey, and she let the girls know that we're going to Portugal. It's gonna be a healing situation. But I was so confused with Sheree this episode because we get a new confessional look and she looks a little bit different. I don't know what's going on, but her face seems more puffier. Because usually she's snatched, like she is snatched. She's our workout girly. So I'm curious to know a little bit more about what's going on with her with that confessional look. But she looks different for sure, and I know everyone has been talking about that and been wondering and inquiring about what's going on with Sheree's face. Okay, so anywho, now the brunch was going well and it was going very cute, but we did get a little moment where Courtney and Kenya were starting to irritate each other. Mostly Courtney irritating Kenya. And I think it's because Courtney, she has that voice. She doesn't know when to stop. That yip yap. She doesn't know when to stop. And it was crossing over a boundary with Kenya. And it was doing too much. And Kenya tried to let her know that, you need to stop with the hands and stuff like that. But Courtney was not receiving this. But Drew was a good mediator in that situation. So I wanted to end this brunch on a good note for once, okay? Because every time it gets to that point, you wonder who's going to put the hands on who, okay? And we don't want that, okay? So we call it an end, and I was getting quite nervous. So everyone is leaving and ready to go to Portugal. So ladies are packing. We going to Portugal. It's going to be a whole new girls trip, a whole new vibe. I'm just hoping it's better than that Alabama trip, because that Alabama trip was trash. Was trash, Kenya Moore. You were responsible for that. But we know Sheree likes the finer things in life, so she's gonna give us a whole experience, okay? So the ladies have arrived to Portugal and they have their vacation here. I love the braids. The braids were serving. Kenya, she had her hair straight. She and Marla had her hair straight. And Manetta, she was giving us different looks, different vibes throughout this whole episode. But the rest of the girls, they brought the braids, okay? So we learned that Candy is not feeling well, but not the bad where you can't come to the trip situation. She was still able to go to the trip, but she had food poisoning. So throughout that whole flight, she was in that toilet, and we learned that she was doing the vomiting and the number two back and forth for 3 hours straight. She got snatched for that trip for sure. That's outrageous. I love that, Marlo uses it as a moment to shade her in the confessionals, asking the producers, what was she doing? But good thing that, Candy can take a little joke, and she jokes herself on it too as well. So it was fine. She was doing okay. I felt so bad for her. So now, this is Sheree's healing trip. So we're bringing in the fun. And when they got to the hotel, ooh, to me it spoke vacation. It spoke ambiance. The vibe was so relaxing. Now I love how the producers they flash back over to Kenya's trip in Alabama to that hotel suite situation, and it does not compare. Don't even come close. But sometimes Kenya, she has some nerves to make some comments to say like, "Oh, where's the hotel? I hope you're gonna do it at what we're doing." Like, girl, you the last person to ask these questions, because when they were asking you these questions, you didn't want no part in giving any answers to anybody. Okay, so the girls they're sitting up, before they get into their rooms at like pretty much the lobby, they're lounging. And we learned that Ralph is over in Vegas doing an audition for Chocolate City, which is like a stripper situation. And I am so confused. This man had an issue with cheating in Tampa. Florida is dangerous for Ralph. We've heard the drama. So for him to go on a Vegas trip to audition for Chocolate City as a stripper, red flags, red flags, red flags, and all the ladies were looking at Drew sideways. Even Drew was looking at Drew sideways. Okay, let's keep it 100. Okay, so that situation was just so off, so weird that I feel like Drew was trying to convince her situation like, oh, it's just an audition. The manager from her, the producer from her music video suggested connection, this, that. No, I think absolutely not. Ladies are confused. I'm confused. And I'm like, ooh, checking on your man. Okay, check in on your man. Okay, so now ladies get to the rooms, and the rooms are stunning. I'm telling you, it's giving you luxury, it's giving vacation, it's giving ambiance, it's giving vibe. Everything that you could want in a vacation, it was giving. Okay, so we get a Portia moment from Drew. So Manetta is talking to Drew. They're bonding. Manetta says that she's been to Africa. It's not too far away from Portugal. And she asks if Drew has been. And Drew says, no, she's never been to Africa. She has been to South Africa, but not Africa. And I'm like, girl, we having a Portia moment. But it's okay. Every housewife is allowed to have a Portia moment. I love Portia moments. They're so endearing and cute. So we learned that Manera has an orphanage in South Africa, in Africa. So I thought that was amazing that we get to learn a little bit about Manera. But I feel like she would get more about herself into this group. I feel like we learn little tidbits, but I feel like she's like a friend of and not a person who's trying to be a housewife. Maybe she's not trying to be a housewife, but she's not doing the friend of justice, because we've seen really good friend ofs, and Manera, she's not doing it for me. Okay, so all the ladies they are taking in Portugal. I am taking in Portugal. I'm feeling like I need to make that a destination place for myself, because the way this girl's trip is selling Portugal to me, it is definitely giving. Okay, I need to check after this for sure. So Candy and Kenya, they are talking, and Kenya, she's like talking to Candy, sharing what's upcoming. We learned that she has divorce proceedings coming up soon. Man, this divorce is like 3 years in the making, like seriously. So we learned, like, for Kenya, even though this divorce is taking so long, it's hard to just not say that she's not dating, and specifically because this man that she's dating is giving her some sort of excitement. So she feels very excited that she is seeing this man named Roy. I'm gonna see more about Roy to see what's the smoke about, what's it all about. So I'm happy and excited for her, because she seems genuinely happy. So Kenya did share that Roy did let her know that he went on a date. He didn't date it. They didn't date. They didn't date it. They took one date with Miss Marlowe. And it seemed like he's honest and straightforward. It wasn't too much, and she's very happy that she's not letting that situation get to her. Okay, that was years ago, so it's not anything recent, like a year or a couple of months ago. It was something years ago, so that's over. So now over at Sonia and Marlo, they're having a little key moment. And Sonia still wants to know what's the difference between Roy in the DMs versus Martell in the DMs. And I'm like, Sonia, ooh, this is gonna be. I thought you're trying to be friends with Kenya. What you doing here? You trying to be spicy? What's your angle? I'm still trying to get Sanya because sometimes she's not picking a side. She wants to be friends with Marlo. She wants to be friends with Kenya. You a friend to nobody. I'm not saying you can't be friends to both of these ladies, but sometimes the way you're engaging these ladies, it makes you think that, to them, I would think you're on my side, based on the way you're talking. I would not have think that, as Kenya, that you're trying to be my friend. Meanwhile, you're talking to Marlo about Roy and Marlo's situation. No, I don't think so. That's you need to pick a side for me. So anyway, guys, this is a healing trip. We gotta focus on the healing. We're focusing on the healing. So I'm thinking like my hopes of this being a successful healing trip, I don't know. I'm gonna hold my breath on that. Let's give it another day on vacation to really see if it's gonna be a healing trip. But you guys, let's continue on with the episode. So, ladies, they're heading out to dinner. They arrive to dinner and they're trying out the Portuguese food. Okay, and the food, it looks good. There was some stuff that I was like, I don't know if I like, my shrimp with the legs still on it. I think I like them off. So Sheree, she opens the floor for healing, and Courtney, she takes this as an opportunity. And I like Courtney, but Courtney wants to shut things down immediately. Like she wants to resolve issues ASAP. Okay. So Courtney brings up to Kenya how she didn't realize that there was an issue between them at the brunch until brunch. So, Kenya, she says and she stands by that she is protecting her space. And she gave props to Drew, even though Drew has been a thug, a confessional thug towards Kenya. Kenya is giving props to Drew, saying she appreciates Drew clarifying, saying these are boundaries and having her back in that, which is, I feel like, Kenya, she really does appreciate when people can stand by her, because I've seen so many instances where people do not stand by Miss Kenya Moore and let her fend for herself. Miss Detroit, fend for herself. So I'm like, okay. And Courtney receives that. And I'm like, this is good. This is healing. We healing. So I'm thinking, okay, this is a healing trip. This is a healing trip. But then we move over to Sheree and Drew. So Drew brings up the situation about the lawsuit, and what she's heartbroken is that she found out through Courtney that Miss Sheree has been talking behind her back about the lawsuit situation, and that really hurts Miss Drew. Miss Drew's thinking, we are friends. Why are you dogging me out like that? This is a situation that's affecting my family. Why are you playing me? Which is all valid and very cool. But Sheree, she was not hearing it. Sheree, she was super defensive. She brought up how, Drew was talking lies about She by Sheree and her product being taken away from the ladies after the reunion. And when she brought that up, I'm like, I thought you guys resolved that. I thought that was like you guys let that go out on that spa day that you guys had. Why is this coming up now? This is not looking good, Sheree. Why are you doing this? And to me, and the ladies too, they see the situation and they're like, Sheree, come on, let it go. She is obviously heartbroken. This is like a big sis, little sis situation. She has the utmost respect for Sheree. And we have heard Drew say that she respects Sheree. She wants to support her business. Now, Sheree, she was not having it, not hearing it, because she wanted to use this as a moment to be right instead of listening to her sister that she brought on this trip for a healing trip. And instead, it didn't end too well. And Drew, she picked herself up from the table. She removed herself from the table. She goes outside and starts crying. And I would feel bad if I was Sheree. You brought this girl over for her to cry. Like, seriously? Come on. So of course Marlo and Kenya, they both can agree on that, no. Sheree, this is your trip. You need to take care of the situation. You have to make this right. So I'm so happy that Miss Sheree, she got up and she went to go check on Drew, and this is where the episode stops. So I'm hoping for a recovery moment situation next episode. Already we crying. At least it's not. Candy is hilarious. Candy is like she's happy it's not her this episode. It's not her this time around. But I'm like, girl, they emphasize that too much on this episode that I feel like next episode is gonna be about candy, 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 candy. So we'll see. But I don't know. I'm so far I'm liking this trip. I'm wanting to see what kind of activities these ladies gonna do. What are they gonna get into? But I'm excited and for sure gonna be looking into going to Portugal right after this recap. So guys, thank you for watching this recap. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate every one of you for taking your time to watch my little channel, and I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. So, as always, guys, take care. Have a great week. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Stay tuned because I will be recapping The Real Housewives of New York. Okay, that will be posted tomorrow. So, subscribe so you make sure you get a notification so you don't have to forget. You don't have to remember. You don't have to forget. So, I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye.